Hi, and welcome to Module 8. This is about epigenetics and Earth elements that we're going to talk about. This corresponds with your workbook for Module 8, and it begins on page 49. As we go through this next slide, which is a video of Bruce Lipton talking about epigenetics and what it is, please fill out the blank areas in the form. So, for example, it says, in school we learn of the science of blank. Just go ahead and fill that out, and he'll talk about all of these. So please listen closely to this video.
Bruce Lipton, and I'm a former research scientist. My history was based on cloning stem cells. A lot of people think stem cells are a new understanding in science, but I was cloning stem cells 43 years ago in 1967. And through my research, I found a different path in understanding medicine and health with a different view on genetics, which is now called epigenetics, the new science. In school, most people learn the science of genetics, which is the belief that genes control our traits. This science is really based on the fact that we get our genes from our mother and father at the moment of conception, and that these genes at that moment of conception actually will determine the rest of our lives in regard to our physical, emotional, and behavioral characteristics. A new science is called epigenetics. And epigenetics is an understanding that genes are not self-actualizing, meaning genes do not turn on and off. Genes are just blueprints. And the significance of that is that in order to engage a blueprint, it's not the blueprint's activity, it's the contractor's activity, the one who reads the blueprint that controls the blueprint. So in epigenetics, it's a science of how environmental information selects the genes and can modify the readout of the genes. And this becomes very significant because in genetic control, the old story, we are victims of our genetics. And the new story, epigenetics, because we can change the readout of the genes, we can then become masters of our genetic. And this becomes important because we actually control our health with our beliefs, our perceptions, and our attitudes about life. In the world of science that I grew up in, the mechanisms of how life worked were based on what we call Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics is a science that emphasizes the material physical world. So according to Newtonian physicists, if you look at a body, it's like a machine made out of chemicals and controlled by genes. And therefore, we look at the nature of the physical activity of the body in regard to its chemistry as controlling its life and its functions. However, there's been a change in our understanding of mechanisms. And rather than the Newtonian physics, this information has been updated by what we call quantum physics. Quantum physics recognizes that although we see an atom as a physical structure, when quantum physicists wanted to find out what the atom was made out of, when they looked inside, rather than finding physical particles, they found that the atom was made out of vibrational energy. And all of a sudden, when you understand this, if matter is made out of energy, then everything in the universe is made out of energy. And therefore, it becomes important to understand that energy is very powerful in influencing what we call matter. So Newtonian physics says matter can only be influenced by other matter. And quantum physics says no, matter can be influenced by the invisible energy fields. And therefore, a new kind of healing is available to us using energy vibration rather than physical chemicals. And it turns out that energy vibration as a means of communication is 100 times more efficient than trying to communicate with the body through chemistry. So we have a new understanding of how to control our body, and it's through energy fields and vibrations, which include thoughts. In the world that we live in, which is based on Newtonian physics, where matter is primary, and you mix this with an understanding from Darwinian theory that we're in a competition for fitness and survival, and I would ask a person in this world, I say, well, how do I know how fit you are? And in this world, you say, well, I am very fit because I have this much matter, because matter represents the world, and the more fitness you have, the more matter you have. Matter, in our case, is represented by money. because that's what you buy the matter with. So the more money you have in this world, then according to the Darwinian principle, then the more fitness you express. But in a world based on quantum physics, which is based on energy, then there are things that are much more important than the physical realm. And some of the things that we understand in the nature of energy are emotions and feelings, such as love and beauty. These are expressions of energy. And in a world of quantum physics, we start to recognize that this is more important than the actual physical possessions. So as we move from this world into the future world of quantum physics, we will surely emphasize more the nature of love and feelings and energy and beauty and harmony over the money and the material expressions that we look at today.
All right, I really like that. He said quite a few really interesting things in there, so I wanted to go over the different spaces that you needed to fill in, just to make sure that you have them correct. So the first space is genetics. In school, we learn the science of genetics. The second, third, and fourth are physical, emotional, and behavioral characteristics. And he said a new science is called epigenetics, E-P-I-G-E-N-E-T-I-C-S. It's up there on the top of your page. And then genes are blueprints. Then it says we control our health by our environment. By our beliefs, attitudes, and perceptions of our lives. And then we now understand that up to 98% of our genes is actually inherited from our parents and ancestors. Oh, sorry, I'm looking ahead. 98% of our genes expressing themselves is contributed to our environment, and then only 2% of our gene is expressed through inheritance, actually inherited from our parents and ancestors. So 98% and 2%. He also said energy vibration is 100 times more efficient than chemistry. I thought that was amazing. This really is a case for energy healing and energy clearing, energy medicine, all those terms that are being used now and helping people with moving their energy. And he said scientifically we can actually prove that now through epigenetics, that can happen. And then he said that love, beauty, and more important, love and beauty, all these different emotions have an energy to them, and they're more important than the physical processes that happen. So that's really interesting. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. So epigenetics, again, the environment controls up to 98% of the way in which our genes express themselves. Nutrition, exercise, and stress reduction play key roles in influencing our health. And we talked about energy being 100 times more efficient than chemistry and communicating with the body through the chemistry. So this is why energy healing can be so powerful. He said that epigenetics is a new science based on quantum physics. Genes are not self-actualizing. They turn on and off, or they don't turn on and off. Genes are blueprints. Environmental information selects the genes and modifies the readout of the genes. And we are not victims to our genes. We can change the readout of the genes by how we live with nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, mindset, thoughts, reducing chemicals and EMFs in the environment, loving relationships, purified water, and sunshine, etc. We are operating below our potential. Our environment plays a big role in our health. So what environmental factors are contributing to our health in positive or negative ways? And I don't necessarily think any of this is in your notes, but you can take notes for this. Okay. So negative ways would be through processed foods, low nutrient intake, toxins and chemicals, electromagnetic fields, extremely low frequencies, which are ELFs, and EMF are electromagnetic fields. Little to no exercise. A lot of us are very lazy and just sedentary most of the day. Stress, negative thoughts and beliefs, toxic relationships, distractions, negative emotions, trauma, negative world events. All of those negative things just play a toll or take that toll on our bodies, our minds, and our spirits, and they get us depressed and frustrated. And they also play a big role in how unhealthy we are. Positive ways that We're influenced is through raw foods and vegetables, sprouted nuts and seeds. These are life-giving enzymes that give us life and energy. Exercise, prayer, meditation, reducing stress, positive thoughts and beliefs, positive emotions, focus, healing, forgiveness, positive world events, love, positive relationships, and sunshine. So if you want to, you can take a picture of this slide, or you can stop this video and write all those down in your notes. Let's talk about frequencies now. Bruce Tainio of Tainio Technology built the first frequency monitor in the world. He found that a healthy human body frequency is between 62 to 72 hertz. Hertz equals 1 cycle per second, and a megahertz equal 1 million cycles per second. So that's the difference between those. So the human body, the genius brain frequency is between 80 to 90 megahertz. So 80 to 82 megahertz, which is 80 million to 82 million cycles per second. The brain frequency range is 72 to 90 megahertz. Human body is 62 to 78 megahertz. Thyroid and parathyroid glands are 62 to 68 megahertz. The thymus gland is 65 to 68 megahertz. Pancreas is 60 to 80 megahertz. The heart operates at 67 to 70 megahertz. The lungs operate at 58 to 60 megahertz, and the liver is 55 to 60 megahertz. Now these are from a healthy person, and they lower depending on how your health is, or increase, get up to the higher amounts there, the numbers there, as you increase your health. Illnesses then operate at colds and flu of 57 to 60 megahertz. Disease begins at 58 megahertz. Candida overgrowth is at 55 megahertz. Receptive to Epstein-Barr is 52 megahertz. When we're receptive to cancer, we operate at 42 megahertz. Death begins at 25 megahertz. Food then, when we eat fresh plant foods and herbs, that's 20 to 27 hertz. Dried foods and herbs are 15 to 22 hertz. And processed or canned food is 0 hertz. So the majority of the food that we eat is processed, which is why our bodies get disease, because we're putting in the 0 frequency there. And it's not allowing our bodies to use what's there, because it can't. There aren't very many nutrients, if any at all, that are available for us to be able to use to repair and heal the body, and to help get those frequencies up higher. So frequencies are really important for the human body. Let's talk a little bit about the food that we eat. So you can see that dead flesh, all of these meat products that we kill are listed at the bottom, and they are at 0 megahertz. They're actually at negative megahertz, it looks like. And this says it's lower karma, which is an unhealthy human, eating lots of hot dogs and burgers, pizza, meat burritos, steak, poultry, pork, dead animal tissue, lamb, duck, veal, buffalo, turkey, shrimp, lobster, and bottom feeders. Again, if we were to eat those when they're alive and we just kill it and then eat the meat, which sounds disgusting to us, without cooking it, then we would get some live enzymes. And that's what happens with the carnivores. We talked about that chart with the carnivores. They go and grab the meat and rip it apart and eat it after a fresh kill. And they have plenty of fresh enzymes that are in there that their bodies can feed off of and survive and thrive in their environment. But because we cook ours to death, there's nothing left. And so it operates at a very low frequency. Animal discharge. So eggs are a discharge from chickens. Cheese, milk, cream, whip, butter, lard, cakes, cookies, scones, all those carbohydrates, dairy baked goods, pudding, sauces with dairy, dressing with dairy, and drinks with dairy. All of those are discharges from animals, and they operate at 0 megahertz. Then foods that are from the earth: cabbage, lettuce, spinach, peas, kales, cauliflower, carrots, beets, parsnips, turnips, pumpkin, potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, beans, and roasted nuts. The roasted, you'd want to actually do raw nuts to be able to get a higher megahertz on that. When you roast them, they're down to 0, which is why they're by that line. We often cook these, which lose their life force. So if we can do the cooking at low heats over a period of time, and still have the bright color and a crunch in it, then the enzymes are still intact. So you need to be really careful with the heat that you're using with your food, because that lowers the vibration of the food, and it also kills off the enzymes. Then we have foods from, let's see, foods from trees. So these are a bunch of fruits that are listed, and the raw nuts and seeds and dates, things like that. I won't list them all. They're mostly consumed raw, and they have a high life force at up to 15 megahertz. And then you have your superfoods, which operate at 52 to 320 megahertz. And these foods contain high minerals and life force energy. So raw chocolate, and that would be the dark chocolate, seaweed, and all kinds of sea vegetables like dulse and kelp. Almonds, raw cacao, spirulina, which is a blue-green algae, lemons, goji berries, mangosteen, and limes, and a whole bunch of other things. But those are much higher vibrational frequency. And then these foods are the highest nutrition known to mankind. So chemical sunlight, wheatgrass, phytoplankton, chlorophyll, and essential oils. And these are, they receive their light. I mean, all of it does from sunlight, but the ones that are really green like this, they actually use photosynthesis to create the chlorophyll, and they're very concentrated with chlorophyll, so they have the highest vibrations around. I believe the essential oil of rose is anywhere, I think it's around 320 to 350. And then interestingly enough, the highest vibration we have is music. And if it's good, beautiful music, it can be in the thousands in frequency. So that gives you a little bit of a better understanding of why the food in your body, when you put raw food in, why you're getting really good energy, because you're increasing that frequency or vibration. So you can feel the difference of high vibrational frequencies in energizing food. Low frequencies make physical changes in the body and become a sponge for negative energy. Medium frequencies make emotional changes in the body. So the low frequencies are at the physical level, the medium frequencies are at the emotional level, and the high frequencies are at the spiritual level that they make changes, and that's 92 to 360 hertz. Again, essential oils have different frequencies beginning with 52 hertz to 320 hertz, which is rose oil. Clinical research shows therapeutic grade essential oils that are organic have the highest frequency in any natural substance known to man, creating an environment in which disease, bacteria, virus, fungus, etc. cannot live. So this is another reason why essential oils that are organic, again, are incredibly powerful. Make sure that they're certified organic. I like the Purify essential oils from Purify Skin Therapy. And you can go to my website at rawchefwendy.com in the marketplace area and check those out. But they're wonderful because they don't contain, let me just talk about this for a minute. So essential oils, they extract hundreds of pounds of plants, which are the herbs, and they concentrate them into one little drop. And one little drop contains 100 times more potency in the herb than what you would get with just a leaf. And when they're concentrating that, if it's not organic, then it has pesticides and chemicals and things that are sprayed on it, then those get concentrated too. So you get a greater amount of pesticides and toxic overload in the system when you're using essential oils that are not certified organic. So you need to be really careful. And there are companies out there that say they're organic, but it's not on the label. Make sure it's on the label. They have to spend a lot of money to be able to get it certified. And the companies who will do that, it's because they know how important that is, and they want to make sure that you're getting the highest quality. So don't be duped by that. Okay, so everything in our environment and our body parts have frequencies. The frequency of essential oils, good food, and good thoughts, all these things attract a like frequency in the body. This is true with everything that we put in, on, and around our bodies, minds, and spirits. Beautiful music is the thousands as one of the highest frequencies on earth. In every culture and medical tradition before ours, healing was accomplished by moving energy. So we're now getting back to that, moving energy with energy healers and clearing energy, the negative energy. These are really important things for us to be doing, and putting in really good high frequency foods and water and all those things into our bodies. So the top 5 causes of mortality in the United States are coronary heart disease at 375,000 people annually, lung disease, also cancers, COPD, and asthma, that's 296,000. Iatrogenic causes, which are the things from medical mistakes, which could be prescription overdose, procedures that are done in the hospital by the doctors that are done incorrectly. Those kill 225,000 people annually. Brain disease, like strokes and Alzheimer, is number 4, and that's 214,000 annually. And digestive cancers like colorectal, pancreatic, and esophageal are 106,000. I think this was from 2017 that these are a part of. So you can take a look at the rest of these as far as what the causes of mortality are. But we've got some pretty serious diseases that we're dealing with in this country now. Cancer cells and epigenetics. Let's talk about this for a minute. Cancer cells can use epigenetics against us by silencing tumor suppressor genes that could otherwise stop the cancer in its tracks. So even if you're born with good genes, cancer can sometimes turn and find a way to burn them off. Beans, greens, and berries have berries have nature's way of giving us what chemotherapy drugs try to do, but with high toxicity. The compounds found in these and many other fruits and vegetables are able to help the body do what it does naturally, move toward greater health and healing. There's a study done by Dr. Ornish. Cancer cells were biopsied from men before and after intensive lifestyle changes that included whole food, plant-based diets, and exercise. Without any chemotherapy or radiation, beneficial changes in gene expression for 500 different genes were noted. Within just a few months, the expression of disease-preventing genes was boosted, and oncogenes that promote breast and prostate cancer were suppressed. Whatever genes we may have inherited from our parents, what we eat can affect how those genes affect our health. The power is mainly in our hands and on our plates. There's only one unifying diet that may help prevent, arrest, or even reverse each of these killers. It's a whole food plant-based diet. And that's by Dr. Michael Greger, MD. So you've probably at this point had a cell well-being nutrition report. If not, that is part of your program. It's where we take a couple of strands of hair and put it on this machine, and it's sent to Germany, and then you get a 34-page report that it tells you all different areas of the body that need help. It is based on epigenetics. It scans the frequency of the hair follicle, and it picks up various frequencies of environmental factors and shows where they are weak in each person. So like we talked about on the frequency chart, it can pick up different frequencies depending on, where they reside. So parasites, for example, reside at a lower frequency. So it will pick those up and be able to tell that you have those or not. It then gives foods that contain these various nutrients, or foods that help with cleaning out the various environmental factors that are affecting the person. So it'll tell us about what vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, antioxidants, and amino acids you're deficient in. It also talks about viruses, bacteria, mold, and fungus, post-viruses, EMFs, which are, we talked about those earlier, the frequencies, and then the radiation, chemicals, toxic metals, and parasites are all picked up on that if you have them. So like we said, that's a 90-day food restrictions list is what you get, food additives to avoid list, 90-day optimized wellness plan, and self-check progress trackers. So those are all part of what you should have received in your plan there. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this now, and we're going to pull over your module workbook. And we're going to go through this a bit. All right, so we talked about interpreting the report, and that has more information here. I also offer you a 15% off your order of Dr. Christopher Herbal Formulas. And you can get those through the duration of this program. So make sure if you have any that you need to get, that you get those ordered. So the difference between vitamins and minerals is that vitamins are organic. So that's in this area here. The first line is organic and can be broken down by heat, air, or acid. So those are the next three lines: heat, air, or acid. Minerals are inorganic and hold on to their chemical structure. Minerals let go over a few key minerals needed. So let's go over the few key minerals needed in the body and discuss what they do. This book is found in the Minerals for Genetic Code by Charles Walter. It's a great book. And while I'm sitting on the phone with my clients often after a hair analysis, I go through that book and talk to them about some of these things. So you get to have this information available to you. So I've been anemic for as long as I can remember. It really showed up in my blood tests throughout my pregnancy and into my 40s. It wasn't until recently that I really started paying more attention to this, from visiting the doctor and getting a diagnosis of severe anemia and being referred to a hematologist, as well as being denied life insurance because it showed up on their lab work for me as well. The doctor prescribed ferrets, IPS, liquid iron supplements. I looked at the label and wasn't terribly impressed. It has propylene glycol, which when I looked it up in a dictionary says a liquid alcohol that's used as a solvent in antifreeze and in the food, plastics, and perfume industries. So I didn't want that in my body. It had some synthetic ingredients ending in IDE, like sodium hydroxide and sodium saccharin, which is derived from coal tar. It also contained casein from milk. I decided to go ahead and try it anyway, and after using it several times, I felt 100% better. I canceled my appointment with the hematologist and continued taking the iron every day, seeing improvement in the following areas. I was able to breathe better, so no more shallow breathing, more energy that's sustainable throughout the day, the ability to run without feeling so tired for exercise. I was less sensitive to food, my heart wasn't hurting as much, and I had lighter periods. Iron is responsible for attracting oxygen to the body and carrying oxygen to all systems, tissues, and organs. Iron combines with other nutrients to produce vital blood proteins and is involved in food metabolism. Without iron, the body cannot survive long, since the metabolism would decrease and atrophy. Iron in the body ensures oxygenation of blood, and that converts to, let's see if I can find it next here, to hemoglobin. It converts the hemoglobin to carry decrease. Oh, sorry. Hold on just a minute. Converts hemoglobin to carry oxygen to cells. Sorry. It improves the circulation and augments the tissue oxidation and attracts oxygen to the body. So iron does a lot of different things. There are some signs of possible deficiency, which include anemia, brittle nails, fatigue, irritability, confusion, dizziness, fragile bones, anorexia, and constipation. So if you're dealing with any of those things, then I would suggest going to your doctor and getting a blood test to see if you have anemia and need to have an iron supplement. Most people think that a calcium deficiency is what causes osteoporosis, but it is actually magnesium, that goes on the next line, that is linked to this condition. It affects all bone and mineral metabolism and the parathyroid hormone. Magnesium is needed to help absorption, utilization, and excretion of calcium. Organic magnesium will most often stop the formation of any new kidney stones. Increasing magnesium is absolutely necessary to stop osteoporosis. Diuretics are not the answer. In fact, they cause the elimination of magnesium, so you lose it whenever you use the diuretics. The loss of magnesium is directly linked to rising blood pressure, often a consequence of the drug prescription. So when you're on drug prescriptions for your high blood pressure, you're losing your magnesium, which is causing a problem with your blood pressure. So it's kind of a circle, this crazy circle you're going in. Magnesium controls potassium levels, and when the magnesium levels are low, the heart is affected because it is needed to conduct electricity for the heartbeat. All of the electrical functions of the heart run on magnesium. Magnesium is the cell, that's the next one, and once it shows up, so it's in the cell, and once it shows up in the blood through a blood test, the reserve is almost completely gone. Okay, the next page is 52. The fastest way to deplete magnesium is to drink soft drinks. Isn't that interesting? People who are addicted to soft drinks are depleting magnesium very quickly. They are rich in phosphoric acid, PHORIC acid. A slower way is to take calcium supplementation that is made from chalk or calcium citrate. So if you see calcium citrate on your labels of your multivitamins or calcium supplements, then you'll know that that is chalk that they put in there. And we cannot assimilate that into the body, so it's just going into different organs and causing calcification, or not drink enough water. So let's talk about calcium. This mineral works together with magnesium. If the ratio is off, people often wake up at 3 o'clock a.m. out of a sound sleep. So there are different organs that are associated as well with the times of the day and night. And I believe the lungs are 3 o'clock, the liver is between 1 and 3. So that will affect you. But the calcium is also an issue. So it's one of the minerals that's most used for advertising products like milk, Tums, and even orange juice. We aren't told that other minerals are needed to help calcium get into the body and into the bone structure, or how to get calcium out of the kidneys when we are done using it. When we take in 1,200 milligrams, so 1,200 milligrams of calcium, without the other companion minerals, we can get quite sick. Constipation is the next line, follows, and then creates more bacteria, fungi, and aberrations growing in the intestinal tract from backed up toxins, which cause even more problems. The result is an acute magnesium crisis, along with the following symptoms. Faulty periods, so they're sporadic, you can't count on them all the time. Feet cramps, leg cramps, headaches, eyelid twitching, heart palpitations, loss of sleep, and back spasms. In the genetic sequences, calcium always shows up at the bottom of the utilization chart. The key is magnesium. It always metabolizes calcium, moves it around, moves it out, and drags it in. A kidney stone is the next one, is developed much like making rock candy and can form by using a high calcium supplement without enough magnesium to keep it in a solution. So these calcium supplements are causing kidney stones. The kidney forms crystals due to the supersaturation of calcium without the proper balance of magnesium. The two work together. Calcification is the next line of the arteries, or arterial sclerosis, is also a long-term effect of too much calcium and not enough magnesium. Calcium is important in the formation of bones and maintenance of teeth. It is also important in nerve impulse transmission, blood coagulation, and muscle contraction. Other important uses of calcium in the body are keeping the body solid, fetal growth during pregnancy, a component of cartilage, body fluids, tissues, and alkalinity. Signs of possible deficiency are weakness, fatigue, hemorrhaging, rickets, catarrh, which is like a whole bunch of mucus in the system, bone softening, cramps, digestive disorders, abscesses, extensive sweating, poor circulation, poor circulation in the legs, swollen ankles, weak ankles and arches, cold feet, weakness in legs, and leg cramps. So the next line here is potassium. So these were, looks like you had one up here, but I had calcium in there. But this next line then is potassium. This mineral is critical for the proper functioning of the heart. So potassium is critical for the heart. If a person wakes up at 2 o'clock a.m., often this may indicate a potassium imbalance. Potassium is known as the great alkalizer, is the next line, and is a primary electrolyte. It is important in pH balance and water balance. This element plays a vital role in nerve function and cellular integrity by regulating the transfer of nutrients into the cell. Potassium attracts oxygen to tissues. Lack of it reduces tissue oxidation. Potassium functions in the body include supporting muscular system. It increases tissue and blood alkalinity, acts as a nerve tonic, reduces acidity, promotes good health and vigor, helps eliminate toxins, supplies healthy nerves. Sign of possible deficiency are overacidity, reduced oxygenation, aches and pains, mental illness, restlessness, low energy levels, skin disorders, elevated cholesterol and triglycerides, nervousness, anxiety, and hypo or hypertension. Potassium literally washes your organs and muscles in a process called saponification, which is the conversion of fat into soap. You wash the buildup workout acids out of your muscles, giving you better muscular gain and less time for athletes. There are many other vital minerals and vitamins that we need to remain healthy. Many of these come in the fresh fruits, vegetables, dark leafy greens, sprouted nuts, and seeds that we eat from raw foods. This is why this lifestyle is so sustainable over time, and energy is felt for long periods of time. When these elements are in balance, that's the next line, we enjoy amazing health. The books Mineral for the Genetic Code by Charles Walters and How to Build Muscle on the Raw Food Diet, The Best Foods, Exercise, and Supplementations to Build Muscle Quickly by Peter Ragnar are excellent references to learn more. Okay, let's talk about actually that's it. So I split up this module so that we can do another one so it's not super long for you. So I hope that that helps with understanding a bit more about these nutrients that you are finding in your report as being deficient. You can also go online and Google more information on each one of them. And I would also Google plant-based sources for each one of those so that you can understand a bit more the foods that you need to be concentrating on. Eating the rainbow, all the different color spectrums of fruits and vegetables is really important as well. Even the sea vegetables like dulse, kelp, spirulina, those kinds of vegetables and things, the foods, it will really help you a lot to be able to get a wider variety of nutrients. And as you do that, then you won't have these deficiencies. So it's also good to get multiple reports. And I do offer the second report after your first 90 days. You can get that second report at $75. And if you want to do any other ones, you can get them at $75 as well. So it's much reduced from that first one. But I want to be able to continue helping you with the things that you need so that you can really get an understanding of how you can zero in on perfecting your health and getting the most out of this. So I hope that this has been beneficial to you. If you have questions, please write them down and we will discuss them in our next coaching call. And thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great one.